Okay, so my name is Rachel Evans, and the project I'm doing is a Prove It Like a Penguin relay race. So what's going to be happening is 3 male penguins will be incubating a loaf of bread, which represents their egg, and the female penguins will be racing to Dallas Road with designated water stops along the way, and the water stops have been mapped out by Marlene, Jess, who's also in the show, and there will be prizes for the penguin couple who manages to incubate the largest loaf of bread. And basically it's just a relay based on migration that kind of examines how we tend to anthropomorphize animals and our relationship to animals and nature and the landscape.
Building, obviously, there's no trees in front of that building, but a living wall, or sometimes it's called a vertical garden, is a system of plastic boxes that sit on the front of a building. They're all connected, and then they're planted with a bunch of plants. So all the plants actually hang out on the vertical garden. It's a pretty simple system of it's like pixels. It's a grid, and so I did design a prototype for a wall. So here's how I began it right here. And what you do is the whole building has to be measured out in 1 foot by 1 foot sections like that, because each one of those is a separate plastic box that holds plants. So I made this first draft of it, and as you can see, it would, let me see if I should take it down for you. It's going to fit right on the front of the building. So there we go. All the windows show through. So as you can see, it's just it's about 6 inches thick. It sits on the front of the building. There's tubes behind it that water it, and then you mow it like a grass or a lawn a couple of times a year. Cut everything out. So my part of the exhibition is going to be helping people understand what a living wall is, and I'll be showing pictures of them. Here's my final draft here. So I actually put some trees in it as well. So it's actually possible in a living wall to get this much definition, because each one of the small boxes, the matrix boxes, has 13 holes in it, and you plant the plants out of it. I've brought some plants into the gallery so people can see the different palette that you can get. Here is what's called black mondo grass. You can have black, and here is, if you plant this correctly, you can have pale blue beside black. And there's a lavender, which is kind of a smoky blue, and all kinds of plants here. This is a real interesting one here. This is a hookcraft. And there's one that's in lemon lime color, and here's one that's orange. You imagine the colors, and here's one in this reddy color here. All of these plants grow out of a living wall, and it kind of gives you your palette. So you get both color and light and dark. So I brought this in, and I'm going to be giving people some lessons on how to design that kind of living wall. And I'll be teaching out of a couple of design books that I work with, because I teach at Vancouver Island School of Art. I teach design there. So they'll come into a classroom setting. It'll be Saturday afternoons, not every Saturday afternoon, but please check the schedule. And so they can come in and sit at tables. I'll go over the basics of how you design something like that using some techniques that I have. The second part of my project is to, I've done a couple of Garry Oak meadows in town, and I don't want to disclose where they are publicly because they're kind of controversial, because once an oak meadow goes in, you can't really develop in that area. So as you can see, I've got 17 oak trees planted in pots here, and I don't use any special system. I just dig up some soil, put it in a black pot, put an acorn in the pot, and I get oak trees. So these are about 3 years old, so they will be gorilla planted and protected for a few years, looked after, and then we'll have more oak trees. Problem with oak trees is everyone loves them. Nobody wants to cut them down. but they are getting cut down, and the solution to it obviously is just to replant them. So I'm just trying to get people into the idea of, instead of trying to protect every oak tree we have in town, especially the real old ones because they're going to die anyway, just keep replanting.
Well, my name is Marlene Jess, and I'm doing a project called H2OMG, which is a response to a Dasani ad that I saw in Vancouver last summer for a product they were putting out called Dasani Lime Water, and it had text along the front of the poster saying H2, oh my God. So I thought to myself, water is really developing in the consumer industry, and the aisles at the supermarket are growing, and we now have dedicated aisles for water products. So I was interested in water fountains and public drinking sources, and started looking at the water fountains in Victoria, and in hopes to promote that system and take attention away from purchasing water that comes in a plastic bottle. It's very destructive for the environment, including the plant bottle, which is a hoax, really, and promoting tap water. I went on the watershed tour in early May and discovered that we do have a really high-quality, pristine water system here in Victoria, where essentially the exact same methods are applied to cleaning our water than are applied to cleaning the water that you buy in bottles. We pay 15 cents for 100 liters of water in Victoria, as opposed to $1 to $3 for a bottle of water that's bottled somewhere else in North America or on the mainland and shipped over. Very destructive. So that's how it relates to the Greenwash project. So what I've done is chosen 6 fountains in the downtown area, and I will be at one fountain once a week for the duration of the show, excuse me, promoting that fountain and branding the water that comes out of that fountain. So I've made labels, and I've acquired many bottles, glass bottles, and yeah, that's about it. So I will have a cart set up inspired by Lucy's psychiatric help cart, you know, psychiatric help, 5 cents. So I will have a cart set up that says water 0 cents, and I'll be offering to bottle water from the fountain and giving it to the public, and then creating awareness about our beautiful watershed and the system that our water comes from. I would like to credit Michael Jess for making this beautiful water cooler wooden from reclaimed wood. So we're going to fill it with house water and offer it tomorrow night, and perhaps indefinitely, as opposed to the Canadian Springs water, which is a Danone product. Yeah.
My name is Robert Hengeveld. I'm here at Open Space for the exhibition Green Swatch, which I'm a part of. I'm going to be showing the piece Kentucky Perfect over the next 6-7 weeks. It's a piece that's kind of evolved out of a lot of earlier work, and also is a bit of a reflection on, I guess, the community that, or the culture I live in, we all live in. And pretty much what the work is an assembly, or a kind of a structure that has 3 different assemblies on it, and collectively they maintain a tract of lawn or turf. So there's a light assembly that continually moves back and forth across this grass, and then there's a real assembly or mower which comes in and cuts the grass every 20 minutes or so. And then there's also a watering boom that drops and traverses the assembly and waters it when needed. So to collectively they kind of maintain this grass in this kind of utopian state, or the kind of ideal growing conditions, and I guess create the perfect lawn, I guess. So the work is intentionally excessive, I guess. Excessive exaggeration of the extents we go to control the environments we're in. But it's only marginally excessive, I think, because we already have irrigation systems. We already have robotic lawn mowers and whatnot. So absolutely, it's an exaggeration, but only in so far. So the work, beyond that, I guess there's a couple different things that I've been interested in. Everyone will kind of take their own thing to the work. For myself, I think it's quite interesting how the lawns really, or the shaped hedge, whatever, really kind of reflects our interest in controlling, and below that is I think a desire to, whether it's kind of keeping up with the Joneses or a display of how much control we do have. I think it brings up those issues. And so you might have one neighbor that has an immaculate lawn. You have the other neighbor that gets notices from the city because they haven't cut their lawn. And those are the kind of things that I'm interested in, is kind of how we present ourselves to the people around us through, whether it be the things we wear or the way we can kind of control our environments. And it's nothing new. It's been around for centuries, and it used to be the wealthy persons or the marquises display of power and affluence, I guess. But it certainly is kind of changed quite a bit in the last couple centuries. So yeah, there's that aspect of the work. There's also a little bit of humor in the absurdity of kind of taking something to such an extent for really kind of maintaining 15 feet of grass, right? Yeah, those are a few of the things that are wrapped up in the work for me. There's I'm sure many other things that people would bring to it, depending on their experience. So.
So this is Scott Evans' work, and it is inspired by his vision that sort of is a mixture of the dream state as well as sort of an apocalyptic vision of the world that he sort of looks at or is concerned about, I guess. And I think his perspective on the issue is that relates to how plants are sort of infinite and humans not so much. So so he's planted in many varieties of plants into this human figure, and they're beginning to grow. And the intent is that they sort of really amass and take shape throughout the duration of the exhibit, and crawl up to the ceiling for some of them, and he's hoping even for some decay. A lot of his work involves both growth and decay, and sort of a reminder about that element of being human, that it involves, both things, life and death. It's not totally complete at this point in the project. Tonight he's going to be doing some finishing work and incorporating found objects and things like that he likes to detail his work with. And also, this is sort of one part of his project for Greenish, and the second part of his project is as artist in residence at the Compost Education Center.
And there he's going to be doing an ongoing project from the 10th of June until the 23rd of July. And he'll be working with the Compost Education Center to produce an artwork over there. My name's Elise Portal, and I'm a curatorial assistant here at Open Space for this show, Greenish. And a really important part of the show is this community mapping project. We want to invite people from the community to come and add things that they're doing in relation to sustainability, whether it's community initiatives or public garden spaces, green businesses, green buildings, to get a sense of what's actually happening right here in the city, as well as in Saanich as well. So we're trying to map sort of the farms and get a sense of, yeah, what is available and what is happening, and to build relationship with those people who know that information as they come in. So we really want to make Open Space inviting to people in the community to come and share what they know, and to start to get a sense of what is already taking place, so that we can build on that, and so that people can become aware of what is happening. And we also have a scrapbook of different articles that we're trying to track, or things that just come up in the newspapers, the Globe and Mail, the Times Colonist, the Monday Magazine, that kind of thing, when they're talking about issues of sustainability, and whether it's from like issues on biosolids and the struggle with that, or things about water, or any issues like that. So we welcome people to come and scrapbook, and we're going to set up a station for children as well, so we'll have something for the whole family.